Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. What's up, y'all? It's K-Von, aka Killer TV. We back. So this is my series. Get to know K-Von, get to know Killer TV, get to know me. Thanks to everybody that checked out the last video where I talked about how I found peace in having no religion. If you haven't checked out that video, go check it out. So we back. This time I wanted to talk about something that was near and dear to my heart. Music. No Limit. The Tank. Man, I'm a super music fan. But when I first fell in love with music, what really made me fall in love with music was No Limit. Master P. Make Him Say, That was the first song I've ever heard in my life that made me say, what is that? And I would actually buy that. Like, that was the first time. It was 1997. I am 12 years old, and I was just like, yo, No Limit, Master P, that's what I'm rocking with. And so, man, it was the Make Him Say single that made me fall in love with No Limit, and I wanted to know more and everything. So I go on to buy my first No Limit album from my, at the time, favorite rapper, Silk the Shocker, Charge It to the Game. Whoa, man. And I know it'll be a lot of people hating on Silk the Shocker or whatever, but maybe we both a little weird, because I never heard anything weird about the way he was saying about his flow until years later when people would criticize his flow, and I was like, oh, he was a little offbeat.
We don't speak no more. We let our money talk, and girls niggas wonder why the girl got that funny walk. I stay live and direct. Always give respect. Always cash checks. I'm rich like that.
Or maybe I was off too, because I thought the stuff Silk the Shocker was saying back then was amazing. But so Silk the Shocker was obviously my favorite member of the Tank, probably followed by Mystikal. And that was another album I got as well, was Mystikal. Everybody, I remember being in middle school, everybody was on Mystikal. Like, Mystikal. And I was on Silk the Shocker. That was my, and we was picking, like, people was picking soldiers, you feel me? Like, oh, I'm Silk, you P, you Fiend, you Mystikal. People was picking soldiers, you feel me? And I was Silk the Shocker, like if we was picking our favorite wrestler, as we did too back then. And I was a super Silk the Shocker head. I remember getting that album and then opening up the folder, the album cover, and looking at Silk the Shocker, all these other albums inside of the No Limit thing, inside the album cover, and I'd be like, damn, who the hell is all these other people? So my question today is, have anybody ever listened to all those other albums that was on No Limit back then? And back then, I was all about the A-player No Limit players. A-player artists, rather. Silk, Mystikal, Master P, Fiend, C-Murder, Snoop Dogg, Mia X. All those other people, I never gave a chance, never bought it. But you remember in 1998, they put out 23 albums that year. And I didn't listen to half of that. The one that really caught my eyes back then was the Mercedes. So we all seen the epic album cover Mercedes. All right. I always wanted to hear that album. But one day earlier this week, I finally went back and listened to some of those albums that came out in 98. And man, I really did myself a treat, because it was some shit on there. And I want to give a big shout out to Cultureless Theory YouTube channel. Follow them. They are freaking amazing. The way CJ Williams, I think his name is, how he breaks down the you could tell he's a true No Limit fan, because the way he breaks down stuff about No Limit, and they do a countdown show, is just really dope. But so I got to listening to some of these No Limit albums, and man, it was really good. And the one that I really smacked myself about, that I never really listened to that even after the dude from Cultural Theory said it was number one, I still never really listened to it, was Mac, Shell Shocked. Wow. He did a No Limit ranking of the best albums from 98. He had Shell Shock number one, Mac, Shell Shock number one. And I never really listened to Mac. I just knew, I never really paid attention. Like I said, I was always about the A players of No Limit. I never really got into the other guys of No Limit like that. And man, that Mac album is tough. It's tough. And, you know, I just been seeing him pop up a lot recently because he got out of jail a few years ago. But that Mac album was freaking great. Shell Shock from Mac, great. Another one that I was like, a lot of these people, I didn't even know who the hell they even was. This guy, Big Ed, he had an album called The Assassin. Wow. I was like, I never even heard of this dude. I mean, I was attention to any of these albums. And I was like, wow, these joints are crazy. Just everything No Limit pulled off in 1998 was just crazy. 23 albums in 1 year is absolutely nuts from any record company. I don't even think Def Jam was even putting out that many albums back then. It was a way bigger label than No Limit, man. I didn't even know like all these albums actually did come out. You would look in the album cover and you never realized that half of these albums actually came out. That just lets you know how many people that are in the South, and you can just, you know, sell records out the trunk or the mom and pop stores in the trunk in the South. But man, I'm encouraging you guys to go back and listen to some of those albums on the No Limit roster and give them a chance because I did because I never listened to it back then, and I was a No Limit super fan. But like I said, I don't listen to the big artists. And one day we're gonna do a whole deep dive into Silk the Shocker too, because like I said, Silk the Shocker was my favorite rapper for real. I loved me some Silk the Shocker. I love Charge It to the Game and Made Man. Like those, like when I say I played those albums so much growing up, it was crazy. Charge It to the Game was amazing. Anyway, this is Kayvon, aka Killer TV. We get to know me. What's some of y'all favorite albums from No Limit in 1998? Let me know. Leave them in the comments. And if there's anything else y'all want to talk about, let me know. Till next time, keep God first, and I promise everything will work itself out.